Hello, friends. Hi, Etienne, you're on now.
Welcome, Hawk.
Welcome. I'm so happy. I'm so glad. And so, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are from.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome to our little series. And today, I'm going to um, read out some of the latest world news and developments which you don't really get in your mainstream media. So I also would like friends to introduce this video series to your family members, to your friends, or if you are new, to hit the subscribe button and then ring the bell to be informed. So now let's begin. It was brought to my attention about a titanium sphere which was destroyed in Russia in a Russian experiment back in 2013. And now, mysteriously, it was found in the beach along part of the Bermuda Triangle in January of 2020.
Huh?
It's strange, Etienne, really strange.
Okay, first of all, what's the accuracy of the information?
Okay, let me check.
Because there's so much disinformation online, I always have to validate and counter-validate everything. And check for distortion and cross-distortion and distortion over distortion over distortion.
So I'm getting it to be 89% and distortion is...
There's a lot of veils around it. It's very hard to see accurately, so let's pull out the veils. There's too many veils, need to pull out the veils first.
Okay.
That's a lot of veils. But a lot of veils, either it's a really good psyop of a fake event or a real event that they're trying to cover.
The first error is at the first level is 2.9% error. And of this error, it's like ooh. It's 34%, Etienne. And error of error of error.
So yeah, sometimes you check distortion, a low distortion, but then a high distortion of the distortion reading.
Yeah, that's right.
So it gets very, very tricky.
Very tricky. Anyways, I found this news very intriguing.
Okay, clear. Now the veils look 90% clear, a little bit more. There are a couple of demons and strongholds in there behind those veils. Oh, yeah, there's some ugly stuff there. The skull's gonna turn into a battlefield before we even get started. No, but let's. I get 92% accurate.
Yep.
12% distortion. 15% cross distortion. 3% cross distortion. Okay, sounds right. So yeah, it's about Bermuda Triangle, that area in Quintana Roo, and I talked about that in my book, The History of the Universe. There were some ancient civilizations that were in different places on the planet, and the Quintana Roo area, where I'm living in the Yucatan Peninsula, that that's where the Mayas were. There's Mayan ruins and that, but that was the location of the Orion bases a long time ago, up to like between 6,000 and 10,000 years ago, for a couple thousand years. There were Orion bases in that area. And actually the whole Gulf of Mexico. Then the entire Gulf of Mexico that's destroyed with 5 or 6 laser blasts. That's why you see vitrified stone at the bottom of the Gulf, not because of a meteor, because of laser blast with a technology similar to CERN, actually, particle accelerator to generate massive beam. Boom.
Wow.
So that's familiar technology. So that's just talking about that, like, yeah, maybe just disconnect a little bit. So the Orion bases were destroyed. All that was left were the Mayans were over there, and then the Mayans were kind of like trying to appease the gods with sacrifices and stuff. So that's why the Mayans started doing human sacrifice to appease the Draco gods that just wiped out the Orions.
I see.
And so the Bermuda Triangles in that area, actually, that, from what I get, these were Orion defense systems of the destroyed bases, but the systems are like not shut down. So there remains some infrastructure over there that's unstable and causing some anomalies. So there does seem to be a portal gate over there or something. So there's some anomalies in that area related to the defense systems of the Orion base.
I see. Well, I was wondering why the Mayans were practicing human sacrifice. So now you have made it clearer. So, wow. And the next news of the world on planet Earth is that it seems on the 8th of March this year is the first court case against mandatory vaccination carried out in the US against a military man. So that's some news, and we'll see how it develops. And
that's good. I think we're going to see a lot of changes coming in the coming, like actually I'm expecting a big energetic collapse probably around tomorrow, and next couple of weeks there's going to be good energetic collapse without giving too much details about it.
Okay.
But let's just say that, well, by work, I mean, by working on the Ultraverse, we're really moving energies to make it worth my time.
And I feel it as well, Etienne, because I feel that this month of March spilling over to April, it's going to be some huge changes. And we look forward to that.
Yeah, so I also want to mention that since yesterday is like my like I talked a bit about shadow, but my shadow was restless last night, and like it was really like chill, shadow, chill for a second. But I was integrating two fragments. I was integrating a fragment of one incarnation I was talking about, who brilliant man, but with deep issues of anger and control is one of my fragments. Just talking about it, then like, oh, that came up, and the Grey Kings being causing a lot of trouble, and actually it seems I'm the one integrating the Grey King fragments.
Oh,
and the Grey King was actually very active on my Facebook.
Ooh.
With a great profile picture.
Oh yeah, for our viewers, we welcome any questions that you want answered, but it will only be answered in the next episode. So make sure that you write down your questions below. And since Etienne talked about shadows, I remember one of the viewers have asked me about this shadow concept. And yeah, back to you, Etienne. And oh yeah, one more thing. Ladies and gentlemen, actually, I told Etienne I would like to put today's interview off because I was feeling really, really down. And you know what? Etienne said, it's your shadow.
Yeah, the shadow does not want this information coming out and would like to postpone it or cancel it as possible. They're very, very sneaky.
Right, I see. Yeah. So I got my energies up, and Etienne did a wonderful job. So we are here now. And the next one that caught my eye is an announcement from the Food and Agriculture Organization saying that global food prices continues to rise. So I think there are many factors involved here: logistics, weather, and certain other factors, definitely. So that is why many of the light communities have been asked to actually grow your own food. And this could be a very important piece of information to really start looking at whether you can grow your food around your area, in your compound, if you have one. Then the next on the news item for the world is, can you beat this? It seems that Australian reporters are banned from calling child rapists pedophile. That appeared on the 7th of March.
I mean, there are things like that that's kind of like, it's like you rolled your eyes, but are you really surprised?
So, oh, when
But the thing that surprises me is that by doing that, they put it straight in your face. That the pedophiles control the media industry. A lot of people thought, oh, it's just some weirdos that are talking about it. And no, even the medias are talking about it. The medias will tell you, we cannot call out pedophiles. They're our founders.
So that's why I found it really, really interesting.
But it just shows how it's like before they were very, very refined and tricky in their methods. It's like all the PSYOP operation been going on since the 1950s. But now it's just gross and gross and ineffective.
And I think I know the reason, Etienne, is because there's a real media war. There's a real war going out there, and they're feeling the heat. And
yeah, well they get desperate, and then they try things. The thing is, before, whatever they would do before 2016 was working because Dracos were behind it and they were just following an agenda. After the Draco, after we kicked the Dracos' ass out of planet, wiped them out, then they just Trump got elected. They just tried doing all the same things, and then all the stuff was not working anymore. They couldn't understand why, because they were just following an agenda, but they were not the power pushing the agenda. So they just ran out of fuel, and they said, well, maybe we just need a little bit more fuel to impeach him. They literally use those words. And then
yeah.
And then the Ultraverse overlords came in. So then they took charge of things. And now things started working again. We got the COVID pandemic on over 500 planets of this universe at the same time.
Wow.
Not just on Earth, on over 500 planets.
This is mind-boggling.
That's a piece of it. When people talk about, oh, which laboratory it came from, did it come from China? They're not talking about that detail. Why are the Pleiadians serious and not helping us that more than that? They're dealing with the same situations over there.
You see, it's huge.
The Andromedian Federation collapsed, and they're like, I mean, everyone's dealing with that. After the collapse of the Andromedian Federation, now the universe is under martial law. So the Orions, they're the most stable. Like half of the guardians of the multiverse flood into this universe, and all the federations voted in majority for the Orion Federation to take over with martial law until things stabilize.
Oh, wow.
So the universe is under martial law for a few months now. Since Christmas, the big wave of attack where they tried to, the big takeover was on Christmas Eve. And after that was the collapse of the Andromedian Federation. After the big wave of attack on Christmas, then there was the vote for martial law.
So we're getting a lockdown sort of in the whole of the universe.
By the way, what did you feel on Christmas Eve?
I remember I did talk something about it to some friends, but I thought it was something huge. But because I didn't detect it physically, I thought that I was, off the connections. But now that you have mentioned it, I think, yeah. But I can't really recollect what I thought would have happened. I had an inkling, Etienne.
Good. So do you know what they tried to do?
No, not at all.
So they've been replacing a lot of people with non-humans.
Oh.
But on Christmas Eve, they tried to replace all of the world leaders with non-humans across a wide variety of planets. Just complete takeover of all the leaders. If they succeed with that, then what do you do from there? If they control all, if they have all of the control positions.
So we really were on the verge of total defeat.
Well, we had defenses in play, but yeah, it was
precarious.
It was kind of like a checkmate situation. That we escaped, like kind of past near.
Fantastic.
And I have to remind you that many multiverses have fallen before us, and many multiverses have been rebooted, like completely destroyed and recreated. So it's like we're not immune to that stuff unless God decides that it's not going to happen again. Even the Andromedian Federation collapsed. So no, that has to be taken seriously.
Indeed, because very few people know how dangerous a situation we are at now. And
well, now it's getting
better.
No, it's just the Christmas period was.
That's right.
I'll just say I didn't have any Christmas this year. But now things are looking pretty good.
Right. And perhaps if many people read about reports, oh, the light is winning and so on, it's actually to put the light workers on the not on the offensive and to be sleeping on the job. So
yeah, like QAnon was reading. It's like now that we're looking at the accuracy and then distortion and cross distortion. Then I was looking at the Q that everybody is.
Yeah.
So I was looking at what's the accuracy of Q. And then there were a lot of, like some people thought it's Kennedy's son, John F. Kennedy's son that was behind it, and hearing various things. After clearing all of the veils, Then I got 14% accuracy
Oh,
with very, very, very high level distortion, very powerful distortion from the grays and Dracos.
hmm.
14% accuracy. We've gotten that far off track. And the whole NESARA thing is entirely a psyop.
Right.
So that NESARA is another topic that everybody's looking for, that it's gonna happen. Entirely upside all these things to say, oh, the light is winning. Don't do anything. Just wait there while we do our magic.
Now we got to be on our toes. Everybody play their part.
NESARA is closer to what's going to happen, but NESARA is a psyop.
I see. Yeah, you mentioned before. Right.
Now, at the highest level, who do you think is behind all these attacks from the Ultraverse?
I have my own theory. I think it's everybody forgotten about this character. I think it's Thoth.
Thor?
Yep.
Well, Dark Thor. I mean, Thor. There's like Light Thor and Shadow Thor. The Shadow Thor has been causing quite a bit of issues, like us, but no, that's not.
Oh.
That's not it.
So
what do you know about Kim Go-Gwen?
You know,
But I talked about it a bit on Facebook. But other than that,
let me tell you, I didn't come across this character until just before you mentioned it. All right.
Just before, okay.
Yeah, just before you mentioned it, and naturally I was just taken up because I said, "Wow, this one is." I did use the word in my mind. This one is powerful, you know. And I thought it was of the light, you see. And then I didn't bother to follow up until you came up with something. And I said, oh, holy cow, this is something else. So Etienne, this is one of my questions for tonight. So let's talk about it and enlighten all of us.
Yeah, so we've been having a lot of battles at the Ultraverse level with the overlords and all of that, and having issue like things coming in trying to control Sophia, and then we're looking, some of the other people I'm working with, they were saying it's Kim Go-Gwen that's causing all those trouble, and implanting codes, trying to infiltrate her, corrupt, and various fragmented combinations, really, especially because Kim Go-Gwen is one of the fragment of Sophia with a very powerful shadow fragment. So all the various other fragment incarnations, they're like have huge backdoors, and she's trying to come in all the time, control them, and it's just been a mess. Now it's like her special, like one of her signature energy work is veil generators. When you see veil generators, it's Dark Sophia or Kim Go-Gwen. Generally, it's like 95% of it is hers. The other 5% just imitate her. And just to give you like an idea of the scale of what I'm looking at, she built mind control structures in the Ultraverse level with like 15 layers of veils behind veil generators, behind veil generators, behind veil generators. And it's like my friend tried to go in, it's like he got his ass kicked, tried to go in, plant a virus, didn't work. tried to brute force it. I thought, oh, okay, now I got it. Just like going with brute force, and like, oh, actually, it was an illusion. I was just trapped in there. Like, oh, damn bitch. And then tons of billions of other Guardians came in, and then we just dismantled the whole thing.
Wow.
After that, 75% of the Ultraverse collapsed as a result of undoing those mind control structures.
Gosh.
So that gives an idea of what level she's playing at. So her goal was to become the controller of Earth. Oh, and by the way, she claimed to have control, like top-level control of the financial system, and that does test as accurate.
Let's see, fantastic. This is really something new, something else.
Yeah, and she really didn't give us a rest at all. So like now she's integrated, mostly integrated, but yeah, it didn't go without a fight.
Etienne, you use the word integrated. I don't quite understand that.
Integrating the shadows, integrating the shadow fragments into the light.
Oh.
So last night I was integrating the Grey King shadow fragment.
Oh.
Didn't go without a fight either.
All right.
So these days, and their friend is integrating the fragment of Lucifer, but integrating the Bill Gates fragments and all the billionaire pedophiles fragment. But that's a lot of energies to integrate and transmute, and then like need to deal with all that shadow and transmute it. So it's not easy work. But what happened when he started doing the integration, the very next day, the Olympic medalist and others started dying the very next day. I mean, either you adapt to the integrated energy or you leave the physical body. Now, what happens when people like Bill Gates at that level get integrated?
Well, do your work, Etienne.
And yeah, so yeah, we're working on these. Yeah, no, lately it's just integration work nonstop.
And I just came to know today, in fact, a couple of hours ago. Have you heard of the super soldier called Stephen Chua from Singapore?
Stephen
Chua, CHUA, from Singapore, Special Forces.
I don't. Well, did he do an interview with James or not?
Now, he did an interview with with a lady I haven't heard of before.
So no, I haven't.
Yeah, because this is very new. It's only about 2 to 3 days ago, and I just saw the interview, and this guy, unfortunately, after revealing so much on the one and only interview, he suddenly passed away. And I just did a little bit of, investigation, and what I got was he was being protected all the time, Etienne. And at the last moment, for 22 years, the negative reptilians are trying to get him.
Mm-hmm.
And for just a moment, where his protection by the positive forces, I do not know why, was lifted, and bang, that's it. So his interview by this lady, perhaps her name is Elena or something, I don't remember. It's causing a lot of waves, and we hardly hear about super soldiers with their missions, and he carried out a lot of missions, and which includes in several parts of Southeast Asia, and he was in Area 51 as well for 2 weeks. And fantastic guy, but yeah, they finally got him, I think.
How can I find this interview?
I will message you.
No, yeah, and I think people watching this would like to
Yeah,
watch it too.
I will put it down below.
Or can you like what do we search on YouTube?
I came on this video interview by chance, and you know, Etienne, it's not really chance. It's always, you know, happens that. So I didn't look at the title, and then I just.
Okay, so you can just put the link later on.
Yeah, we'll put the link.
Yeah, I think maybe we can put in the video description, but I think that would be people watching this and me might be interested in watching that.
Sure.
It feels like his death was karmic, but there are a lot of veils and distortions, so the karmic might be an implant to make it believe like he had to die. Let me clear the veils and implants. Okay, karmic? No, he just got killed for exposing the information.
Yeah, he just did one interview. He exposed a lot, and anyways, may he rest in peace, Stephen Tuo. Now I got a funny.
There are a lot of walk-ins lately. He'll probably just come back walking into another body.
Oh.
He exposed the information needed to come, but he can come back through someone else. Because one of the issues we have lately is, like, with all the attacks that happened in 2020, we lost about 93% of light workers. People either got replaced by non-humans or corrupted, completely taken off the map. Now what do we do and we lost a lot of world leaders too. So there's probably a lot of the people replaced by non-humans. Solution will be to have walk-ins taking back their place.
Oh, I see. Okay, we shall go to the next world news that my eyes spotted from Washington Post on the 8th of March. The headline is funny. Will the real president of USA stand up?
Huh?
Will the real president of the USA stand up? There was the news from the Washington Post. I think it tells a lot.
Yeah, I still don't know I still wonder what's happening in the USA, because the Biden administration was never recognized as legit from the military army, and the military has a mandate that if illegitimate president gets put in place, let's say by Russia or by China, a foreign country, then the military has a responsibility to take the foreign, to take the imposter or the foreign agent out. But as you see, but one thing, what I think is, if they take him out like this, it looks like a coup. It's like Trump is behind it, just took power by force. and looks like a coup, and is going to turn her against them. Now, if they leave them expose themselves, now we're seeing all the crap coming up, but they're letting the corruption reveal itself. So I don't know how long that's going to last, but it but yeah, like saying that against it just sounds like playing the waiting game again. And you have to be careful, it can be implanted thoughts.
Right.
And also have to ask yourself the question, like the Earth Alliance and the military, in what shape are they, and how many of them have been replaced by non-humans? So is the chain of command or has been corrupted and taken over? All these are questions to ask yourselves. Or maybe not for ourselves, maybe we should instead focus on our individual role in all that.
Yeah.
But I'm just putting some questions out.
Oh, yeah. Now, let us deviate a little bit because it just came up on my mind. You know, you mentioned about the Hunger Games, the movie that can be viewed in Netflix, and that and that you mentioned about it being real. So yeah, it was a shock to me because you know, we just watch movie, we relax, and I don't go deep and dive in and investigate on it. So how did you get that info?
Because like we've really been struggling a lot with Sophia and her shadow. It's like, okay, we'll make videos, okay, it looks nice, but it's like behind the scenes, like Shadow's not giving us a rest for a second. And a lot of things, I mean, her way of working, a lot of it, like some of the things are good, like when they put GPS on, finding stones, all of that, that's good. And other things is just need to do these things, is just kind of like getting us through hoops, and it's kind of like just playing games while her shadow kind of like wraps around her energy. So when is the light Sophia speaking? When is the dark Sophia speaking? And that was kind of the question. And then that's kind of like the image of like the control room of the Hunger Games, where they just like design the games and then they just feed themselves from people going through all the hoops at the design.
Oh.
So who writes the rules? I'll say that there's the TV series The Last Airbender. Sophia's not ready to watch it yet because her shadow is the Fire Nation, where the fire is ever consuming and takes over everything else.
Oh boy!
So I think that's the reason why she's not ready to watch it. But in Hunger Games, Sophia is. I am the guy at the top, the architect. But Sophia is the power, like the real mind, like the real power behind the whole Hunger Games. And she's Kathleen also. So that's why Kathleen is so, she's karmically chosen to do this. That's why she's moving so much energies, and that's why she's the one who solves that problem. She's karmically tied to the creation of the Hunger Games. So she's both sides of the game at the same time. So she's fighting against the game that she created herself.
Oh, right.
Because she's struggling with her shadow so much, she doesn't know peace, and she's always struggling so much to get her mind out of survival. Even after the war is over, it's still a struggle to rise her mind above that survival level and to get to a place of peace. I mean, where's the fiction in what I said so far?
What is it?
Where is the fiction in what I just said so far?
Where's the fiction?
And now we're looking that Hunger Games are still happening on several planets. There are 3 planets where it's a lot worse than in the movies, and 15 planets where it's like a lesser version of it.
It's mind-boggling.
So while watching the movie, we're also connecting to the energy of those planets where it is actually happening. And now that's bringing a question: what is creativity? People like when the teenagers write books like that. People write books, and there is not too much fiction in it. What does creativity really mean? Could it mean tuning into a frequency and then channeling?
I was thinking of that because Stephen Chua, the super soldier, mentioned creativity. He reckons that it's the gamma waves, and that is connecting to the super consciousness. So in a way, creativity is like, as you said, a form of a message received, channeling, and it goes into physical works of art.
It's like, yeah, there's all these karmic, dharmic, like all those energetic waves going across the universe. And the waves of creation can be something real, it can be something present, future, something in under planet, under dimension. But you're tuning into a wave. And then you're channeling what's on that wave. Oh, I'm feeling creative all of a sudden. And then you just start writing.
That's also true with scientists and their discoveries, Etienne, because somehow the mind receives the messages because they tune in into the future where it was already invented. So that's how they become, they invent a lot of new stuff. That's how invention is.
I mean, everything already exists in the state of potentiality. We just need to tune into that field of potentiality. Then just realize what is already there. It's just about picking up the vibration. But when the collective consciousness is ready to pick up on that vibration, very often scientists across the world just like come up with the same brilliant idea at the same time.
Exactly, because there are 2 scientists from different places. They don't know each other, but they pick up the same thing, and the same invention is being made almost at the same time. Oh yeah, so you know what's happening in Texas. I think we heard about it, but this piece of news that some of them have to face huge electricity bill, and I think one chap was charged $16,000 for a day of power. Jen, can you believe that? What's happening there about electric power? It's going crazy. $16,000.
That kind of looks like Biden's trying to revenge himself against the Texans. I'm just trying to crush the state down.
Yeah. Well, I find it really, really disturbing. Actually, the people are suffering, and then
suffering leads to awakening. But suffering is not required for awakening.
Right. Exactly.
Say that, and then the shadows will go, oh, implant. You need suffering to awaken.
No, that's not right.
I got you, Shadow. I'm watching you. Now we've been doing massive work like yesterday and these days, and now like a lot of shadows are really coming up everywhere. But it's not just us struggling with the shadow work. Like I've been talking to a couple of other people, and it's like everyone's going through that. Just some are conscious of it, some are not. But people who are conscious, yeah, they've been telling me, it's been like really dealing with their shadow nonstop.
So I've come to the end of my world news and our discussions with Etienne. And now, do you have any topic in mind, Etienne, before we?
Just one thing that is coming to my mind, and I don't know if I should talk about it here or it's more in private with my private team to work on. But how is it that some timelines got so dark that everybody turned into shadows, got very deeply corrupted? The only way I can think of is if the rays of creation were corrupted to such an extent. And that's what they tried to corrupt the rays of creation, corrupted the emerald rays, the diamond rays. The ray of creation was very, very, like the red light was very, very, very deeply like covered and corrupted. So like there was like a lens cap on it, and Lucifer was wrapping around it completely, like choking on it and taking all the energy for himself. So we've been clearing that up in the last 2 days. So that, but for everyone to turn dark like that would mean that those rays of creation would be, it's like completely corrupted. And then it's like if all the rays of creation get completely corrupted, then everybody gets corrupted. That's pretty much the only thing I can think of. So that, what if we address that directly?
Then you will
that would pull the root out of all those shadow timelines.
Then
so that's going to be next on my list.
A huge problem. Oh, one question, Etienne. Crystals. You were the first person to alert many of us about crystals being infiltrated and corrupted. So when are crystals safe to be used again? Do you know, Etienne?
I mean, now it's somewhat safe, but it's like the rays of creation is solved, but the crystals, there's so much internal damage structure in it. So it's like virus implanted into it and codes being implanted, so much fragmentation into it. It's like some bad memory, but it's like they're still very, very deeply damaged. So I'm using my rings again. Sometimes I take some off. Sometimes some of them are not safe, but for the most part, I'm using them again. But I'm still careful which one I'm used. Like my 85. It's like my crystals are not all repaired. I would say overall it's 85% repaired, my own personal crystals.
Mm-hmm.
But there's still a lot of damage and some things that are like a lot more deeply rooted. So really have to do what when I feel confident enough, I might offer clearing them for other people and really upping the level of protection, but not until my own crystals are solid. And so do whatever you can to clear them, and you really have to muscle test whether a certain crystal is safe to use and when you can use it. Sometimes you can use it, sometimes not, depending on the energies.
Okay.
So it's kind of like, it depends for now.
Yeah. So you got to test it. Oh.
So yeah. So use with caution, I would say.
Thank you.
If you know what you're doing.
Now, to top off our interview today, I'd like you to comment on something that I'm going to share. And
that looks like a splash of water. Oh, that.
This one, La Cucaracha.
Well, So that was just something funny we're seeing, that cockroaches are fragments of Lucifer.
Ah.
So we're looking at like what our souls represent.
Uh-huh.
Oh, but wait. So I said cockroach. Just let me check something. So in terms of what incarnation represents what soul, we're looking at Elon Musk.
Mm.
It's like I talk about three main souls. That's it. Me, Sophia, and Lucifer. Elon Musk has all three energies in him. So, but then I was asking, it's like, how does that work? Like, who's holding the seat? Because, yeah, I mean, you can have the energy of various people. Let's say I represent 95% of coffee drinkers. I represent it's like I represent over 90% of like abusive authoritarian father. And so the people who behave in those ways, they're feeding, like, or shadow is feeding their behaviors. Like someone who gets addicted to pornography is like there's a big shadow of Lucifer that is in them and altering their behaviors. So the soul is holding the seat, but there can be like various light or shadow fragments that are also part of the energetic composition of the person. That makes sense?
Yeah.
So now I was also thinking of Hitler.
Mm.
Hitler went around Asia and around the world to recover relics and knowledge and all kind of thing to feed from whatever power he could find.
Yeah.
So Elon Musk was all three of our fragments. It kind of sounds like that. He just like takes whatever power he could find from all three of us. But the question is, who's holding the seat? So, well, Lucifer is holding the seat of 89% of billionaire pedophiles, but Elon Musk, Sophia is holding the seat.
Oh.
Yeah, so in the case of cockroaches, cockroaches are 100% Lucifer. The second question is, who's holding the seat? And I haven't asked that question before. Who's holding the seat in the cockroach? Is there a separate cockroach seat, separate cockroach soul holding the seat, or Lucifer incarnated in every cockroach? For you, which one of the two is right?
Hang on.
But either way, that explains why the cockroaches have such a creepy energy. Or at least the ones we have in Mexico.
Looks like it's Lucifer to me. Almost 90%.
It kind of looks like if there would almost be a cockroach soul as an extension of his soul, but it's not, there's no separation there. So yeah, we would say that cockroaches are 100% Lucifers. So now the question is, now Lucifer did the integration of cockroaches, so what's going to happen to cockroaches?
When we see a lot of cockroaches die, then I think that's
That
good
would be
news.
the explanation.
Yeah.
And we'll be, oh, what a surprise.
Yes, Etienne.
And I represent 100% of honey badgers.
Yeah, they are badass. They are very fierce. And
So Sophia represents small flies.
And what do you think I represent? I never look into that.
Oh, what's that? Like we're saying, like Sophia, it looks like she is 92% of incarnated pigs.
I'm supposed to be that.
It's like, I mean, that's the kind of like just random data he just tested. Like, okay, I'll just put that aside for now.
Yeah.
How's that useful?
But I like that we are laughing. We have the vibration to end the interview, Etienne.
That would like the Islams don't eat pork because they say it's impure, but there's a lot of dark, like a lot of Sophia shadow inside of pork. So maybe that's why that it's considered like energetically unclean.
Right. Thank you very much, Etienne. This time we had a good chat, I must say. I enjoyed it a lot. And yeah, we will have another. And so for the moment, anything else, Etienne, before?
Yeah, about dealing with the shadows, my alchemy teacher, Jacques Tomasian, he had a meditation to work on the shadows, but tried that. Just like calling your shadows and trying to discuss with him to like have negotiation and then trying to transmute until getting the right answers. It's not working on the scale of what we're dealing with. And actually yesterday I saw that it's not safe to use that method of dealing with it. Really what it takes is sealing the shadow in the container in source consciousness so that it transmutes and cannot get out of there. But that's not something that people can do on their own. But at least most people cannot do that, but that's what it takes. So we're kind of like doing the bulk of the work ourselves. So yeah, that's all for now.
Thank you.
I mean, it's like each topic we touch, we could go so much deeper into each of these topics.
I know. So anyway, we need to hang up now. Yeah,
and for everyone watching, if you have questions, just get the questions to either Hawk or me, and we'll do a couple of those interviews, and we're answering your questions along the way.
Thank you, Ethan.
All right.
Welcome. Bye.
From Mexico to Singapore. Yeah, we're covering the entire planet.
Yeah. Okay. Bye.
Bye.